Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I am super excited to be partnering up with Starrily to share their new Liminal Dreams collection. The Liminal Dreams collection features 8 nail polishes in a variety of finishes, and it is available right now on the Starrily website. If you are new to the brand, Starrily is a US-based brand. Their polishes are in 15 ml bottles. They now have a lovely wide paddle brush. Starrily describes their polishes as being 10-free as well as being cruelty-free, and their products are not tested on animals. All of the products featured in today's video were sent to me by Starrily, and today's video is also sponsored. Thank you so very much, Starrily, for sponsoring today's video. I greatly appreciate the support. If you would like to pick up any of the polishes in this release or anything else on the Starrily website, I do have a coupon code, which is just Nicole Loves Nails, to save you 10% off of the entire website. That code is non-affiliate. As always, in the description box, I will have links where you can pick up these polishes up, links to the brand's website and social media pages, my social media pages, and also timestamps. And as per usual, I'll save all of my final thoughts and feelings for the end of the video. Let's get into this one. First up, we have False Awakening. Starrily describes this one as an ethereal sky blue base with a twinkling peachy copper shimmer. False Awakening had a fantastic formula. This is going to be one of those polishes that you can build up in 2 to 3 coats. I found coverage was really even and the shimmer looked fantastic in 2 coats. However, I did really like the added depth of color that you got by adding the 3rd coat. On top of deepening up the base color, I found it also made the shimmer look a lot stronger as well. The brand does describe this polish as having a semi-sheer or a near opaque finish, so you do get a bit more opacity with the 3rd coat, but you're still going to have a little bit of visible nailing peeking through. The shimmer in here is absolutely stunning, even though the brand didn't describe it as being color shifty. I did find that in person, I was seeing kind of like an orangey to a golden kind of color shift. Because this is a shimmer based polish, nothing in here is going to dry down textured or be overly difficult to remove, but it is going to be slightly more messy due to all the shimmer particles. This next polish is called Reality Shift, and the brand describes it as a cool mid-tone lavender base with a silver magnetic effect, as well as color shifting shimmer that shifts between a bright green, an aqua, a lilac, and an indigo. Reality Shift had a fantastic formula. The base did not feel overly thick or thin, and I had 0 application issues. Reality Shift was incredibly impressive to me. Unmagnetized, this has a very pastel leaning icy purple vibe with a little peak of a greenish kind of shimmer popping through, but once you get this one magnetized, you get all of the color shifty goodness. As is typical for magnetic shades with me, I chose to build this one up in 3 coats and then I magnetized on the 3rd and final coat. If you aren't going to magnetize this one, I don't think you need to do the 3rd coat. I was able to reach full opacity in 2 coats and I just used the 3rd layer as a way to magnetize the polish. Reality Shift is a very multi-dimensional nail polish, but I do think you get even more dimension when you choose to magnetize it. I am generally on team Velvet Effect for magnetics, but I really can't decide which way I like this magnetized more. Both methods of magnetizing this polish, you get a really strong green, blue to purple color shift in that shimmer, and I found this magnetized super duper easily. Nothing in here is going to dry down textured, and removal is going to be super duper easy, just slightly messy from all of the various shimmer pigments. This next polish is called Flicker, and Starrily describes it as a sheer warm gold base with a caramel undertone, filled with a semi-pearlescent duochrome shimmer that shifts between a bright lime green and a bubblegum pink. Flicker also had a fantastic formula. As you can see on that 1st coat, this one does start off a little bit sheer. I would definitely recommend building this one up. Coverage, however, is super even for this polish, so I definitely think you could use this one as a topper if you really wanted to. I, however, opted to swatch Flicker built up on its own in 3 coats. I absolutely love the gold base. I know that's not going to be a surprise to anyone because, I'm kind of known for...
I love gold!
While I was swatching this one, I was going back and forth trying to decide what colors I was seeing. The base color that I was seeing was very golden, but just had a hint of kind of a brownness to it. In my notes, I wrote that it has an added richness that's more than gold, but also not brown. So I definitely agree with Starrily's description saying this has a caramel undertone. I could see the pink color shift in the bottle for this shade, but on the nail, I was seeing a very strong gold to green color shift. And while the brand does describe this as having a semi-pearlescent finish, I did find that when wet, I could see some brush strokes through the shimmer, but those brush strokes do disappear as the polish dries down. I was able to reach like 90% opacity with this shade. I feel like if I really look for my nail line, I could see it, and I think in really bright direct lighting, nail line will be more obvious. And just like the other polishes in this release, nothing in here is going to dry down textured. You will of course want a glossy top coat, as it does dry down like a little bit flat, but removal is not going to be overly difficult at all. And now we have Artificial Sun, which is described as being a clear golden flake topper with glowing iridescent shreds in various sizes that shift between flashes of warm gold, soft periwinkle, and medium blue. I hadn't read the official descriptions for these polishes until after I had already swatched them, so after seeing this look like unicorn magic in the bottle, and then I get it on my nail over black, and I'm just like, how is it gold?
It's science.
I absolutely love iridescent toppers for this very reason. Long story short, what color flakes you will see on your nail are going to depend heavily on what color base you're putting them over. So over black, I was seeing gold with a little bit of orange and hints of green. And here in 2 coats on its own, we're back to having that kind of unicorn vibe with purple and blue, but also we're getting like a little bit of teal, a little bit of gold, a little bit of green. And here it is over red, and we kind of have Chinese New Year vibes. You get a really good mixture of flake sizes with Artificial Sun. None of the flakes are too large or too small. You have a really nice mixture of about everything. And it also doesn't cover your base color so much that you completely obstruct it. The flakes all dry down relatively flat as well, so you're not going to get a rough, gritty texture as if these were glitters. However, because these are flakes, you are definitely going to want a nice thick layer of glossy top coat. The flakies won't give you a super difficult removal experience, but for flakies, they are fairly messy, so using the soak off method or peel off base coat will be the easiest removal, but scrubbing off flakies isn't like the worst thing ever, other than being incredibly messy. And now we have Persistent Realm, which Starrily describes as an enchanting seafoam base filled with a dazzling pink shimmer that also shifts to a coppery gold. Persistent Realm, unsurprisingly, also had a fantastic formula. On that first coat, it is very sheer. With how strong the shimmer is on that first coat, this one definitely has some topper possibilities. However, if you want to see that nice seafoam green base, I would definitely recommend building this one up in 2 to 3 coats. You will of course get the most depth of color in 3 coats, but I did find that coverage was so passable in 2 coats, I could see a world in which I did stop in 2. There are some very slight brush strokes through the shimmer when the polish is wet, but I did find for the most part they all do disappear as the polish dries down. As someone who isn't generally the biggest lover of soft seafoamy greens, there's something about this shade that is just so dreamy and beautiful looking.
I like it a lot.
The base is very cool toned, but the shimmer is really warm, kind of like a peachy, pinkish kind of color. The shimmer in here is just so strong and so beautiful. And since this is a shimmer based polish, removal is going to be super duper easy. Of course, you're going to want a nice glossy top coat to seal everything in. And now we have Dream Logic, which is described as being a sheer mystical azure base with a glowy blend of purple, pink, and blue color shifting shimmers that transition from a cornflower to fuchsia to peach at extreme angles, as well as a fine holographic dusting scattered throughout. Dream Logic also had a fantastic formula. As the description said, this one does start off and stays fairly sheer, so I did opt to build this one up in 3 coats, and I feel like you get the perfect combination of the depth of the blue base as well as getting a super strong shimmer effect. I feel like the blue base is kind of what I think of as like a cartoony sky blue. The shimmer in here is also incredibly strong. I found largely the colors that I was seeing in person were purple, pink, and gold. The holographic in Dream Logic is very fine and delicate. I could definitely see it easily on my nail, and I think in the sun this is going to look absolutely amazing. The holographic is not going to dry down super texture, like these are teeny tiny little particles. I will still recommend glossy top coat for this shade as it does dry down a little bit flat, and you'll just want a nice glossy top coat just to revive everything. This next polish is called Somnia, and the brand describes it as a delicate cool toned cloud pink in a sheer milky base with a strong glowing cobalt blue shimmer. Somnia also had a fantastic formula, but I did find this one to be slightly on the thicker side. I did find that it self-leveled really nicely. This is going to be one of those pale pink shades where you're going to want to do minimal brush strokes to get the most even coverage. I'm going to call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on your application style. I really like the overall look of how this one looked in 2 coats, but I noticed that I dug my brush in just a little bit towards my cuticle line, so I opted to add a 3rd coat to cover that up. You do get a little bit more opacity with the 3rd coat, so if you like a little peak of nail line peeking through, stop in 2. If you want to reach more closer to full opacity, I would say add in that third coat. The shimmer in this polish is one of those shimmers that manages to both be on the more delicate side, but also being on the stronger side at the same time. It's not going to be one of those shimmers where you're looking at it and you're just like, where is the shimmer? But it's also not one of the shimmers where all you see is the shimmer. You very clearly can see that the base on this one is pink. I don't think the shimmer itself is color shifty, but on the nail I was very clearly seeing a blue and purple shimmer effect. And of course, because this is a shimmer polish, removal is going to be super duper easy, just slightly messy where the shimmer is concerned. And the final nail polish in this release is called Deja Vu. The brand describes it as a medium cozy cinnamon red in a buildable base with a fine multi-chromatic shimmer that shifts from an icy blue to a hint of lavender, pink, red, orange, and yellow at extreme angles, giving an almost metallic sheen. Unsurprisingly, Deja Vu also had a fantastic formula. The base did not feel overly thick or thin, and I had zero application issues. There are some brush strokes in this polish when wet, but for the most part, they all do disappear as the polish dries down. The red base really has a very cozy feel to it. I felt like this felt very much like a autumnal shade to me. However, I feel like the added shimmer kind of throws off the seasonal vibes of this one. I could see it being worn any time of year. The predominant colors in the shimmer that I was seeing in person were a pinky red, a purple, and a blue color shift. I did find that Deja Vu was one of the more opaque shimmers in this release, so I only needed 2 coats to reach full opacity. Removal is going to be super duper easy once again. Alrighty, so final thought. Overall, I thought this release was really beautiful. The formulas were all absolutely fantastic. I have been a fan of Starrily for a very long time, and I gotta say, while I would never have said any of their formulas were ever bad or hard to work with, I gotta say the rounded paddle brush was like chef's kiss, such an improvement. I don't believe this is technically a seasonal release, so I didn't really get any real seasonal vibes from these. I feel like all of the shades in this collection could definitely be worn in various times of the year. I feel like people who have watched this channel for a while will definitely be able to guess what my top pick is going to be, and it's going to be Flicker. I saw this one in the bottle and I knew I had to get this one on my nails. This cute goldeny kind of base, color shifty goodness, 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. My second top pick from this release is going to be Reality Shift. There was just something about how this polish looked magnetized that I just absolutely loved. I've been really loving magnetic polishes as of late, and this one just, it got me real good. Artificial Sun is actually making it onto my top picks list for sentimental reasons. One of the very first polishes that I ever bought from Starrily when I first started buying online brands was the unicorns were coming, and when I saw like this iridescent goodness in the bottle, I immediately thought of that polish. The unicorns were coming is a discontinued glitter shade, so this one is not a dupe for that. Because, you know, these are flakies, that's glitter, they're not the same. But still, it made me think of that, and I just remembered the very first time that I tried the brand, and I was in my fifis when I saw this, so it's making it on for that reason. But I will say this one is also very, very gorgeous. As far as pricing and sale information goes, Editing Nicole's gonna pop in with all of the sale information and pricing. Take it away, Editing Nicole. The Liminal Dreams collection will be available starting on July 10th at 6:21 p.m. Eastern Time on the Starrily website. Starrily polishes are priced between $13 and $16 each for a 15 ml bottle. There will be a special bundle pricing available if you pick up the entire collection, and Starrily does also ship internationally from the US. And again, if you would like to pick up any of the polishes in this collection, you can use my coupon code Nicole Loves Nails to save 10% off the entire website. That code is not an affiliate code, it is just a code to save you all some extra money. Starrily does a fantastic job at keeping nail polishes in stock, and when things do sell out, they also will restock items. This collection is not considered limited edition, and I kind of consider Starrily one of those brands that are kind of FOMO free in their polishes. Thanks, Editing Nicole. I would love to know what everyone else thought of this release. Are you planning on picking it up? What's your favorite Starrily polishes? Let me know all your thoughts and feelings down below. Before we end today's video, I do want to give a very special shout out to my channel members, Shenanigans, Stormy fans, your names of course all on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, there is a link for that down in the description box, or you can click join next to the subscribe button. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again to Starrily for sponsoring today's video. I hope everyone has a lovely week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.